Oh, morning. So, what's it like getting up in the morning on budget sailing? It's very much like camping. You stay in bed longer because it's too bloody cold, because on a budget boat we have no heating. It's damp. Got these linings that cause condensation. The skylight's dripping with water. And you've got to really persuade yourself to get out of bed. Not because you're tired, it's just you know that your clothes are going to be slightly damp from being out all night in this atmosphere. And because you see, we get a lot of humidity naturally because we're sitting in a great big pool of water outside called the Menai Straits. Or I can hear creaking from the cabin next door. The cabin, the other bit of the boat, which means my crew compatriot is paddling around, probably wondering why I'm still in bed at 7:30. The plan to sail through what's known as the swellies, which has to be done on a certain time, that's obviously been cancelled. So better get up and see what's going on. Now, what I'm having trouble with, when I said I was going to partake of some wet wipes, is this some intelligence test? Because I ain't got a clue how to get into these things. I can see a perforated bit there.
Oh. There.
Well, that was easy, wasn't it?
Because you're not familiar with opening baby wipes, are you? Like
no, I haven't got the slightest idea. I'll be back when I've given the bits a wipe.
I hope they're antibacterial wipes.
Changing my pants. I'm putting on my bigger free-flowing ones for today.
What we'll do is we'll just sail down to the Beaumaris Bay, pick up the club anchorage, and then we can have a shower in the clubhouse.
You mean wash bodies?
Yes, proper shower. You brought a towel.
Yes.
Alright, well you're alright then.
Yeah, I've got a towel.
So we'll do that.
Have I got time for breakfast?
As long as you're not having a proper sit down job for an hour.
I'm just. I say, old chap, I'm having croissants and jam. Again. Oh, God, my back's aching.
I heard some farting though last night.
I think you'll find that was wind coming down the Straits. One of the great things on this budget boat is most yachts have a table that's fixed all the time. This being little, it's got this, which is great. Packs away. No coffee or tea here. So I don't drink coffee or tea. And the cardine coat don't go very well with breakfast. So for me, it's croissants. Needless to say, this boat doesn't have any plates on it. I'm having to use the chopping board. Skipper reckons he's been very busy trying to get the important things working. Boiled egg I prepared 3 days earlier. One of the things I tend to use when out camping, caravanning, boating is ordering these small sachets of stuff, ketchup, ram sauce. In this case this is marmalade. This morning we're going to have blackcurrant jam, again in a small package. Takes up very little space and a lot lighter than carrying big stuff around. Of course, James won't go for this because it's quite expensive to buy it in them size packages. So I'll crack on, get me breakfast, and we'll see what the day has to hold. know what I'm doing cool. Okay. So, here we are. Another day. Left Menai Bridge this morning, now entering Carnarvon.
Conway.
Navigator hasn't got a clue where he is. This is actually Conway. Skipper's navigating us in due to the fact that we've just proved I don't know where I am. Well, it had a castle. That's what I was going to show you. Just arrived at a moment where James is berating my past performance on a boat. He's got a bee in his bonnet because apparently I turned the wrong switch this morning. What switch, you may ask? Well, it says here, it clearly says domestic or engine. They're the battery switches. One thing you must never do is switch the engine switch off when the engine's running, because you could destroy the alternator. And how do I know that? Because I did. Because I didn't read the actual signs. It seemed like a good idea at the time. James is very, shall we say, keen on his engine being maintained in a workable condition. So he wasn't very impressed. More because I didn't read the signs. It even says down here, warning. So what you see me doing at the moment is educating myself about what all these switches and buttons are for. Not that I'm going to be allowed to touch them again, because Skipper, based on my past mechanical experience, has ordered me to sit at the chart table. He doesn't think I can do much wrong there, so we're going to give that a go. Of course, if we crash, run aground or whatever tomorrow, it'll be my fault. I'm on it, Skipper. I'm sorting out the plan for tomorrow. It's one of those morning times again. It's 6:30. You might wonder why I'm sitting out here in the cold at 6:30 in the morning. Well, as you saw, we arrived at Conway and we wanted to go watch the football, and we discovered that there was nowhere we could get to watch it apart from one possible place. The problem is they weren't letting people in who hadn't booked or were locals. So it turned out the only way we could get ourselves in was to go in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, it doesn't take a lot to work out that between 3 and kick-off at 8 is a very long time, but we had no choice but to sit there and cling on to those tables so that we had somewhere to watch the big match. Now, I know you might think it might have been sensible to drink lemonade, but we didn't do that, no. I'd tell you what we drunk if I could remember. Trust me, the days of me doing all day drinking finished when I left the army back in 1975. I'm back on the boat. I do remember vaguely coming back. We had a water taxi, a nice gentleman, and we slipped 20 quid to come and bring us back at 10 o'clock. And of course we missed the extra time and had to listen to it on the radio. And so I'm doing two things out here. Now this is all part of boating. I'm trying to get some fresh air into my lungs and get this thing in gear. Because you may notice behind me there's a lot of sand. And there's a lot of sand everywhere we're going today. And we've got to negotiate it. Now you might think that's easy, we just steer clear of it. Unfortunately, it's all going to be covered in water soon. So, when we sail out of here and back across the Menai Straits, we have to know where the sand is, and if you can't see it, he's relying on me to tell him which way to go. Hence, I'm sitting here studying a tidal book to see where the currents are going and what the water's doing. Once I've learnt all this stuff, it don't mean to say I am still going to have a clue where we're going, but I'm going to give it my best shot, because otherwise the skipper will probably throw me overboard if we hit something. So we've got an hour and 5 minutes before we have to depart, in which time I am going to make myself competent and sober. Yeah, I know. Now, it's not long before we depart, and as I mentioned a little minute ago, which was actually about an hour ago, I've got to figure out how to get through these sandbanks. Now, some of you may think I'm praying. Well, I may be praying as well, but on budget boating you don't always get a chart table, so you have to make do. And on this wonderful boat, this is instant chart table. But I might be praying. But anyway, so what am I looking at here? Oh God, I'm looking at this sandbank. Here, just come and have a closer look at the sandbank. Yeah, it's not a lot of water there. But the thing is, the thing that's marked yellow is the sand, but we can't see it, as I mentioned earlier. So what I've got to do is find my way through here, which is why I'm praying. And we're underway. James is on the helm. I don't know if that's because he wants to be on the helm or he's not sure whether I can actually see clearly any further than the end of the boat.
The latter.
The latter.
It doesn't go down to 1.5 metres depth, we're alright.
So now we're underway. The boat speed on the instrument says 4 knots, but due to the tide coming in and pushing us back, GPS is telling us we're only doing 2 knots. And all we're going to do is follow this pilotage plan, which is going to tell us which buoy to jump from to next, with the bearings and the distance, which will hopefully navigate us out of this channel. And then it's up to us, as I said before, to find our way across the sandbanks back to the Menai Straits. What could possibly go wrong?
What's the speed now?
2.2 knots. 4.3 on the engine, 2.2 knots over ground. No guarantee, but it's always encouraging to think other yachts are following you out. which means either we are going the right way or they are stupidly following a couple of blokes who've been in the bar all night.
I make it we should be running 250. If it was 70 on the way up, we should have run.
Let's have a look.
180 reversed is 250 degrees.
I'll have the official information. True 150 magnetic.
Down there? I thought we ran 70 up. We ran 70, it was 65, 70 we ran on the way up. So if we're going 180 degrees different,
Yeah, 70 plus 180.
See,
250.
I told you that with my fag packet calculations when you're up there. You just told me to run 115.
Hey.
Look that way.
Hey, no, I just didn't put my glasses on. I was reading off the previous page where we
Yeah, you've always got off an excuse.
No, it was a
No,
cock-up.
you said 115 degrees true.
I
You
did,
came up
I
and
did,
said
I did.
115 degrees true.
But
So how do you get to 115 degrees? How do you get to 250 from that?
No, I said 150.
115 you
No, I
said.
said 148, 150. And then I went down and I put my glasses on
You
and,
tell me anything you
and
will.
it's
I tell
250.
you.
I did.
The amount of spiel you must have black Marie with over the years, it must be unreal.
Listen, I made a mistake. I didn't put glasses on. But we would have realised that because we know that 150 is over there
This
somewhere.
is what happens
straight
when
to
you've
the left.
got an old bloke, you can't remember. Well, I just thought yesterday he said we should be 70 to the boys or
That's
65
right. No,
to the
we were.
fairways.
We
I
were.
thought, right, fag pack it quickly, 180 versus 250.
Correct.
Yeah. And then when a bloke comes there with 115 degrees, I thought, where's he got us going?
Well,
It's a good job I know what you like. Crikey, the spin Marie must have had over the years must be unreal.
Trust me, I know what I'm doing.
I hope you're videoing it because it will confirm that you said 115 degrees.
True 150 magnetic.
Down there?
True 150 magnetic.
Down there? The bearing
Right.
off the arm, 3, 4, 5. That's even I can remember that without looking.
Shut up your face. So, 250 for 3.1 miles.
Yeah.
And then we're going to turn on to another bearing.
Right, we'll register your distance now on your GPS so we know.
Are we there? Yeah, yes, right.
You see the white houses down there against the woodland? I think that's where that's Bangor down there. And if you look in your book, it will confirm the back bearing of 245, I think, to the Great Orme.
Right, odd meter set. Carry on, Skipper, and I'll go fill in the log.
Yes.
Right, ETA, next waypoint, 47 minutes.
What time will that put us on?
That'll put us 9:47,
So high water was
11:09.
so high water's half 10 till half 11. So yeah, we'll be going home just before high water then. That's all right, yeah. Down onto it.
Yeah, you're just starting to drift away a little bit. We're on about 255.
Yeah, I've just gone up a bit more then.
Glasses, very useful things, if you bother to use them. Of course, we always make time for food on this boat. Something else this boat hasn't got. It doesn't have a refrigerator. So, I bought this on the 4th. It said best before the 6th, and it is now the 8th. It is a cheese and onion pasty. I am going to eat it, so if I die, you'll know that that's the reason. Should be fine, it's not bloody cold in this boat. It's like being in a fridge. Meters. Five meters. 3, 2. Okay, got it. Good, sorted. I hesitated a little bit just there for a sec, so I didn't know whether I'd got seaweed or whether I'd got the rope. Hey, I should keep this for dinner tonight. Good survival food, this. Finally, James has got his car. He's coming back to pick me up. Unfortunately, it's taken him forever to come from down there. He's going full revs up here, but the tide's pushing him back. But it looks like he's going to make it. Looks like he's struggling. Well, yeah, watching that thing, you know.
Now, is it rolling?
Oh, yeah. Just in case you fall in, or I do while we're fanning with this. So you've been for the grand tour of...
I say, Corporal Clark, don't you not know to salute an officer? I bet you've been asleep, haven't you? You have been asleep. I know it.
I have not.
I could tell when you answered the phone. You was asleep.
I was deeply engaged.
You think I'm gonna have a kip now? I know what you're like.
I've been filling you.
Have you?
I've been filling your logbook out.
Well done, old boy.
Oh. Tipo, Tally-o,
Yes.
and all that. You caught your bus then, okay?
Yes, the COVID bus.
Very good. Right, let's switch off, pack up, and go home.
I didn't know how you actually what you do on a bus. So I first offered him cash, and he's like, "We don't do cash." So I had to, it's like, there's a card machine here, and I said, go to Bow Morris. He said, yes. I said, can you drop me by the boatyard? He said, no problem, I'll drop you outside. So I was sat with all the old dears right at the front.
Ah, lucky you. There we have it. A small insight into budget boating. Now, if you're the sort of person that wants to have your central heating and your best crystal along, then it's probably not for you. But for somebody like me who's used to sleeping under the stars, it was luxury. Now, if you're somebody like James who's trying to look after a farm, a family and a boat, he did really well to get that boat up and running when we did. What with lockdown keeping him away from it and everything. And the idea is that we have a shakedown cruise, and that is to check out what works, what doesn't work, and sort it out before we head off to Cape Horn and the Southern Oceans. That might be me just dreaming a little bit. So now we understand all the equipment. We know how the chart plotter works, we've got the wind instruments working, and importantly, we've got that depth sounder working, and we even understand how to use it. And James, well, I think he's relieved, because I don't think he trusted me with that lead line. Something to do with dodgy eyesight and being old or something, I think he said. Anyway, Erwin might not be kitted out like a 5-star hotel, but she's sturdy, she's strong, and she sails surprisingly well. So you don't need best Wedgwood dinner service on your boat to enjoy sailing. And some people were even so impressed that they took a picture of her as we sailed past. We're in 20 knots of wind, we've got reef sails, and Clarkie's steering a hull. So it's possible Clarkie might not be as incompetent as he'd have you believe.